1, 2, 3, pull. In June 2025, the world stopped for a moment. Juliana Marins, a Brazilian mountaineer, had reportedly fallen into a deep ravine during her solo attempt to summit Mount Rinjani, one of Indonesia's most majestic and dangerous volcanoes. What started as a routine trek became a global tragedy in the making. As photos and drone footage of her last known location spread online, the world held its breath. Could she still be alive? At the heart of this rescue was a man who needed no introduction on the mountain, Agam Rinjani. To the world, he's just a name. To the locals, he's a legend. Leading the Rinjani Squad, Agam didn't wait for instructions. He packed his rope, kissed his family goodbye, and began the most dangerous mission of his life. If stories of real-life courage and survival move you, hit subscribe or follow. These stories deserve to be heard. Now let's head to the mountain. Mount Rinjani is more than just a mountain, it's a test of humility. Rising 3,726 meters above sea level, it lures thousands of climbers with promises of a crater lake and celestial sunrises. But beneath its beauty lies a heart of stone. Loose gravel, vertical cliffs, and rapid weather shifts make every step a gamble. Juliana had taken the Sembilan route, a trail notorious for its steep edges and crumbling rock paths. She was seen one moment on drone footage, then gone the next. Her last known position placed her at roughly 400 meters below a ridge, but when rescuers arrived, she wasn't there. The mountain had swallowed her deeper. For Agam and his team, this wasn't just another mission. This was uncharted territory, a descent into a ravine that no rescue had dared to reach before. What lay below wasn't just danger, it was uncertainty. While the headlines named the victim, few knew the heroes preparing to find her. Agam didn't go alone. The Rinjani Squad, a band of local climbers, volunteers, and SAR-trained specialists, assembled without hesitation. They were joined by firefighters, the military, Brimob, and Basarnas, Indonesia's elite search and rescue. Unlike romanticized rescue scenes in movies, their reality was brutal. Hauling 200-meter ropes, steel anchors, rations, and thermal drones through shifting terrain wasn't heroic, it was exhausting. Some carried 60 kilograms on their backs, others slept standing on cliff ledges. Their shelter was a tarp tied to tree roots. Their food? Rice wrapped in banana leaves, shared in silence under freezing rain. But no one complained. They weren't in it for fame. They weren't live streaming. They were there for one reason: to bring Juliana home, alive, or at peace. When Agam reached the first suspected location, he saw nothing. No body. No sound. Just her trekking pole and flashlight left behind like a message. I was here. Confusion spread among the team. Had Juliana moved again? Was she still alive? Agam's gut said yes. This wasn't unusual. Many climbers, even when injured, attempt to crawl to safety. It's instinct. But in Rinjani's vertical gorges, every movement can be fatal. One wrong slide could send a body hundreds of meters deeper. That's exactly what had happened. Juliana had likely tried to descend toward what looked like safety, but instead, she'd fallen another 200 meters, bringing the estimated depth to over 500 meters. This discovery changed everything. Their ropes weren't long enough. Their drones couldn't reach that far. They had to regroup, rethink, and rearm, fast. As night fell, Agam made the hardest decision of the mission. He would stay behind, alone, suspended on the edge of a cliff. With only a headlamp, he dug a shallow resting spot and tied himself to a rock. His teammates hiked back to base to retrieve more gear: longer ropes, thermal imaging drones, and emergency food packs. Up there in the dark, with wind howling and fog rolling in, Agam whispered only one thing: "Stay alive, Juliana. We're coming." He hadn't even met her. But for him, this wasn't about names or flags. It was about human dignity. A life lost must not become a body forgotten. That night, he barely slept. Between landslides and dreams of falling, he held his rope close and watched the sky for signs. Stars, maybe, or something more. By dawn, the squad returned, not just with gear, but with unexpected allies. Climbers, porters, and even casual hikers offered drones and extra hands. One drone pilot, a tourist, handed over his last battery without question. The mission was no longer just an operation, it was a movement. Agam coordinated with the SAR command post. With limited battery life, they launched thermal scans. Finally, a heat signature. A blurry, unmoving figure. Juliana. Her position confirmed what they feared. She hadn't survived. But the mission wasn't over. Now it was about bringing her back, with dignity, with care, with the honor due to someone who died chasing beauty. To reach her, the team had to rappel down a vertical 500-meter cliff made of crumbling volcanic ash and loose rock. One mistake, and they'd fall to their deaths. But Agam didn't flinch. Along with 6 others, he clipped in, nodded once, and disappeared into the abyss. The descent took hours. They spoke little. Only the occasional stop, check rope, or hold. Rain began to fall. Rock fragments tumbled like glass. Their gloves shredded, arms burned, and then silence. At the bottom, they saw her. Juliana lay peacefully. No blood, no mess, just still. Agam knelt beside her. In that moment, the mountain was quiet. No wind, no birds, only the sound of breath. He removed his cap, touched her shoulder gently, and whispered, "We're taking you home." They prepared her body using the most respectful method possible, wrapped carefully, placed securely in a sling, and raised inch by inch. Each meter upward was a battle against gravity, fatigue, and grief. Back at the top, the remaining team shouted in relief, "Satu, dua, tiga, tarik!" Again and again, until she surfaced. Getting her to the ridge was just the beginning. They still had to cross loose sandbanks, rain-soaked trails, and fog-covered ledges. For the next 2 days, they carried her down. Rinjani didn't make it easy. Trees fell. The weather mocked them. But the team pressed on. They refused to let Juliana's journey end in silence. At the final stretch, as dawn broke, a small Indonesian flag was tied to her stretcher. Red and white. For her. For them. For humanity. When they reached the base camp, cheers erupted. "Merdeka!" someone shouted. Freedom. Not political, not nationalistic, but personal, emotional. The team embraced. Tears flowed. Some laughed, some collapsed from exhaustion. But everyone knew this wasn't a job. It was a calling. Juliana was no longer missing. She was home. Agam Rinjani didn't ask for praise. In fact, he tried to avoid it. He and his team returned quietly to their homes, most on motorcycles caked in mud. But videos of the rescue spread quickly. Clips of Agam rappelling into the abyss, shouting commands, and sleeping on cliff faces turned viral. People called him a hero. He disagreed. "The mountain isn't conquered," he said. "It lets us pass. And sometimes, it lets us serve." In the aftermath, discussions around mountain safety in Indonesia exploded. Questions were raised. Why was Juliana with only one guide for 5 people? Were proper checks done at registration? Should dangerous zones have clearer warnings? Agam remained calm. "Mountains aren't malls," he said. "You don't hike to heal a broken heart without preparing to face death." His squad began advocating for better SOPs, mandatory guide certifications, and pre-expedition briefings for foreign climbers. Despite newfound fame, Agam remained grounded. He resumed his usual routines, fixing trails, rebuilding broken steps, installing safety ropes, and even cleaning public toilets near the crater lake. He spoke often about the spiritual respect needed to climb Rinjani, that one must ask permission to the mountain and to God. That those who mock, shout, or curse the land often face consequences, not because of myths, but because of ego. "Humility," he said, "that's the true gear you need." Today, thanks to Juliana's story and Agam's mission, Rinjani is changing. More rescue shelters are being built, toilet facilities are expanding, emergency gear stockpiles are prepped near campsites, and most importantly, education is spreading. Hikers are now taught survival tips. If you fall, stay still. Use the heat of the sand to survive. Don't seek likes. Seek safe steps. Juliana's death wasn't in vain. It became the spark for long overdue reforms. As we close this journey, remember this: Agam Rinjani and his squad weren't born heroes. They became heroes the moment they chose to descend, not for glory, but for a stranger. In the deepest part of the mountain, surrounded by fog and falling rock, they found what many search a lifetime for: purpose, compassion, brotherhood. And when they shouted Merdeka at the peak, it wasn't just for Juliana. It was for all of us, to remind the world that even in darkness, humanity can still rise. If this story moved you, share it. Let the world know about Agam Rinjani and the silent warriors who choose compassion over comfort and courage over fear. Until next time, stay safe, stay humble, and climb with heart.